There are women who walk quietly among us, unnoticed by most, yet fully known by God. They don't chase attention, but heaven pays close attention to every step they take. These are the chosen ones, women set apart, refined in the fire of trials, hidden until divine timing reveals them, and protected by the unseen hand of God. They are far from ordinary, for their spirits bear the marks of destiny. When such a woman enters a room, the atmosphere subtly shifts, not because of her beauty or her words, but because the presence of God rests upon her life. You can't recognize her by appearance. You recognize her by the spiritual signature that only God can place upon a soul. Every chosen woman carries a story carved by struggle. She has cried tears the world will never witness and fought silent battles no one else could endure. She's walked through deserts without maps and survived the nights where only prayer kept her breathing. Yet through all of it, she clung tightly to God. That's her first mark, divine endurance. A chosen woman doesn't collapse under pressure. She transforms within it. The fire that was meant to destroy her only purifies her soul. While others complain, she worships. While some give up, she rises stronger. She knows that God never abandons the ones He chooses. He refines them until they reflect His strength. The second mark of a chosen woman is sacred silence. She doesn't rush to prove her worth or broadcast her greatness. She allows God to speak for her. In a noisy world obsessed with validation, she chooses stillness. When others gossip, she intercedes. When others shout, she listens. Her silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. God teaches her in the quiet because destiny can grow in chaos. She's learned that true peace is her greatest power, and the most dangerous woman is the one who remains calm while everything around her trembles. Her silence unsettles her enemies, who can't understand how she stays serene in storms. But she doesn't worry, for she knows her defender fights better than she ever could. The third mark of a chosen woman is divine discernment. She doesn't just see faces, she sees hearts. She isn't swayed by flattery because her spirit recognizes truth. God has sharpened her vision to perceive motives, detect deception, and guard her peace against false connections. Her discernment isn't pride, it's a protection, it's a gift from God. Because her calling requires a clarity. She carries a sacred influence that must be guarded. The enemy knows this, which is why she must discern not only who enters her life, but who needs to leave it. She's learned that not everyone deserves a seat in her journey. When people drift away, she releases them gracefully, trusting that God removes what no longer serves her purpose. The fourth mark of a chosen woman is resilience through rejection. She has been misunderstood, overlooked, and even betrayed by those she trusted. Yet instead of breaking, she bends, becoming stronger, not bitter. God turned rejection into redirection. Every time someone turned away, God drew her closer. Every no became a lesson. Every loss became fuel. And every heartbreak led her deeper into faith. She doesn't chase after those who walk out. She blesses them and moves forward, knowing that God never allows subtraction without intending multiplication. Her strength wasn't born in comfort, but in pain, and that pain became her teacher, molding her into a woman of unshakable faith. The fifth mark of a chosen woman is spiritual authority. She may appear humble, but her prayers shake the heavens. She doesn't seek stages or applause. Her power is hidden in her faith. When she prays, chains break. When she intercedes, heaven moves. God trusts her with influence because she proved faithful in the unseen. She's fought battles on her knees and won victories no one witnessed. Her strength isn't physical, it's spiritual. The power flowing from her life comes not from pride, but from purity. Because her heart remains clean, God amplifies her voice. She's a warrior wrapped in gentleness, quiet in presence, yet fierce in spirit. Her strength doesn't come from who she is, but from who stands beside her. The sixth mark is humility in victory. When blessings arrive, she doesn't boast. When doors open, she gives thanks. She knows every opportunity, every success is an act of divine mercy, not personal merit. Her humility keeps her elevated. She never forgets the nights she cried out when no one was watching, the pain that taught her gratitude, the loss that taught compassion, the rejection that taught grace, because she remembers God continues to lift her, not for her glory, but for His purpose. She understands that real greatness isn't measured by recognition, but by surrender. Her greatest achievement isn't how far she's come, it's how faithfully she has walked with God. And then there is the seventh mark, the rarest of them all, divine favor. This can't be earned or explained. It's a supernatural covering that follows her everywhere. Doors open for her that others can't unlock. People bless her without knowing why. Opportunities appear even when she's not searching. It's the mark of a divine endorsement, God's visible signature upon her life. Everything connected to her begins to flourish. It's not luck, it's divine alignment. Because her heart remains pure and her motives are anchored in God's will, He blesses her openly. Even those who doubted her must admit there's something extraordinary about her. She carries the fragrance of favor, the glow of grace, the evidence of God's hand. A chosen woman isn't loud, yet she's powerful. She isn't perfect, yet she is faithful. She doesn't chase the world because she knows her worth comes from heaven alone. Every challenge she has faced was never meant to destroy her. It was meant to prepare her for what's next. The chosen woman has endured the fire and come out refined. She has walked through loss and still carries peace. She has been broken, yet never defeated, because God was with her all along, and that made her unshakable. The world may never fully understand her, and that's fine, because her story was never written for the approval of people. It was written for the glory of God. She walks differently because she listens to a higher voice. She moves when God says move and stays still when He says wait. Her timing isn't influenced by pressure or comparison. It's shaped by divine instruction. While others rush, she rests. While others panic, she prays. She understands that waiting isn't wasting, it's preparation. God doesn't delay her path to punish her. He delays it to perfect her. And when her appointed time arrives, she shines effortlessly, not because she chased the light, but because she became it. There's a calmness that surrounds her, a stillness the world can't imitate. She doesn't need validation to feel valuable or approval to feel anointed. Her confidence flows from divine assurance, not from applause. She knows that God's hand upon her life is her greatest protection. The same God who allowed her pain will turn it into purpose. The same tears that once broke her will water the soil of her destiny. Her story may have begun in struggle, but it will end in glory. Because with God, everything that begins with tears always ends with a triumph. The chosen woman carries scars, but they aren't signs of weakness. They are proof of her survival. They whisper, I've been through battles and still believe. She doesn't hide her wounds because she knows they carry wisdom. God never wastes pain. He transforms it into purpose. That's why she carries a glow that can't be explained. It isn't beauty, it's resilience. It isn't charm, it's grace. It isn't luck, it's the evidence of divine faithfulness. You can see it in her eyes, hear it in her words, and feel it in her presence. She has walked long enough with God to know that even her silence speaks victory. The most profound truth about the chosen woman is this. She was chosen long before anyone believed in her, even before she believed in herself. God saw her before the world did. He marked her for destiny before she ever took her first breath. Her story was sealed in heaven long before she faced her first battle on earth. That's why she cannot be defeated. That's why no opposition can destroy her. She isn't sustained by her own strength. She is carried by divine purpose. So if you are listening right now and you feel unseen, misunderstood, or forgotten, remember this truth. God has not overlooked you. The marks you carry aren't random, they are evidence that you are being prepared. The pain you've endured isn't rejection, it's refinement. The storms you've survived aren't punishment, they're preparation. Every chosen woman must walk through fire, but she doesn't burn. She must face the storms, but she doesn't sink. Because when God chooses you, He equips you. He strengthens you. He stands beside you through every dark season. You might not see it yet, but every closed door was protection. Every disappointment was redirection. Every delay was divine timing. You're not falling behind, you're being built. God is crafting your story, refining your heart, and shaping you into what He already knows you can become. And when the time is right, He will reveal to the world what heaven has always known, that you were chosen, marked, and destined for something greater than you ever imagined. The chosen woman isn't defined by what the world sees. She's defined by what God whispers to her soul. She may not wear the crown of gold, but she wears one of grace. The world might call her ordinary, but heaven calls her appointed. Every step she takes is guided by divine precision. Every delay is not denial, it's preparation. There's a sacred rhythm to her life, a timing that cannot be rushed or altered, because the author of her story writes line by line, season by season. Others may move faster, but she moves deeper. Her journey isn't about speed, it's about purpose. She knows that what comes quickly often fades quickly, but what God builds through patience lasts forever. When God chooses a woman, He doesn't choose her for comfort. He chooses her for calling. He places a divine fire within her, a vision that won't let her rest until she fulfills her purpose. That's why she cannot live like everyone else. She cannot lower her standards or follow the crowd. There's something sacred about her steps. She's walking a path few will understand. The chosen woman carries weight, not the weight of the world, but the weight of divine purpose. Her soul carries an anointing that attracts both blessings and battles. Many envy her favor, but they don't see the fire that shaped it. For every ounce of grace she carried, there was a season of pain she had to survive. There are nights when she feels weary, when faith feels heavy, and her tears fall unseen. But even then, she doesn't stop believing. She knows that the same God who called her will sustain her. Even with the trembling hands, she still prays. Even with a weak voice, she still speaks faith. Because her strength isn't her own, it flows from the presence of God within her. A chosen woman doesn't crumble under pressure because the one who holds her never sleeps. She keeps going not because it's easy, but because quitting isn't in her nature. What sets her apart is her unwavering obedience. When God says move, she moves. When He says wait, she waits. Her obedience isn't partial, it's complete. Even when she doesn't understand, she trusts. Even when it costs her comfort, she says yes. Because she knows that obedience unlocks blessings that talent, charm, or influence never could. She's learned that God's favor doesn't rest where there's rebellion, it flows where there's a surrender. And though obedience sometimes leads her through wilderness seasons, she knows the promised land is waiting on the other side. The chosen woman walks by faith, not by sight. Her confidence is rooted in trust, not in evidence. She knows that faith is not about seeing what's ahead, but believing that God has already gone before her. There's something magnetic about her presence, not because she chases people, opportunities, or validation, but because she's aligned with the divine purpose. When her heart aligns with God's will, everything meant for her begins to find its way to her. Her life becomes a proof that you don't have to chase what's yours. You only have to stay faithful. She doesn't manipulate outcomes or force doors open. Instead, she surrenders and lets God move. When a woman is truly chosen, heaven itself rearranges circumstances to bring her into alignment with destiny. What once resisted her suddenly makes way for her. What once seemed impossible begins to unfold naturally. She isn't lucky. She's led. She doesn't strive. She flows because divine order makes everything fall perfectly into place. She carries an invisible strength, one that doesn't boast or draw attention, but radiates from within. This strength wasn't born from privilege, it was forged in pain. It's the quiet power of a soul that survived the fire. She has faced the battles that could have broken others, yet she stands clothed in peace, covered in grace. Her calm confuses those who expected her to collapse. They don't realize that she found her strength in surrender, her courage in faith, and her healing in prayer. There's a fire in her eyes that no storm can extinguish because she has walked with God in darkness and learned that the same hand that allows the flame also walks with her through it. Her heart beats with purpose. She doesn't live by emotion. She lives by conviction. Her love is not naive. It's wise. Her compassion doesn't make her weak. It makes her divine. She forgives without forgetting, lets go without losing peace, and blesses even those who try to harm her. Not because she is fragile, but because she refuses to let bitterness poison her purpose. Her calm is her power. Her wisdom is a weapon. Her peace is a victory. When she is wronged, she blesses. When she is betrayed, she prays. She knows that vengeance belongs to God. And holding grudges is far too heavy a burden for someone walking in purpose. The chosen woman understands that unforgiveness chains the spirit, and she refuses to carry what God has already released her from. Every chosen woman reaches a point where she must choose between comfort and calling. And when that moment comes, she always chooses God. She lets go of what's familiar to embrace what's divine. She lays down her plans so that God's plan can rise. She understands that elevation requires separation and destiny demands discipline. While others celebrate distraction, she pursues devotion. While others seek validation, she seeks revelation. She lives differently because she was chosen differently. Her life is a message that whispers one truth: God is enough. When God chooses a woman, He hides her before He reveals her. He keeps her unseen, uncelebrated, sometimes even misunderstood, not as punishment, but as protection. Hidden seasons are holy seasons, sacred times, when God builds her foundation so she can stand strong when her time comes. Many mistake delay for denial, but she knows better. She knows that hiddenness is proof of preparation. Every quiet season is a training ground for greatness. God never reveals what He hasn't refined. The chosen woman embraces the silence because she knows that the deeper the roots, the higher the rise. There's a peace in her that chaos can't touch. She walks through storms as if she hears a voice others cannot. Her calm isn't ignorance, it's confidence. She's confident that God's plan is greater than her fear. The same God who led her into the valley will lead her out of it. She doesn't need to understand every detail to trust His direction. Faith to her isn't about certainty, it's about surrender. It's walking into the unknown, trusting that even if she can't see the road, God will catch her steps. Her peace is her power because it tells the world, I may not know what's ahead, but I trust the one who does. The chosen woman gives freely love, kindness, time, compassion, because she knows everything she has is borrowed from heaven. Her generosity keeps her blessed. She pours into others, and God refills her in ways she can't explain. She gives not for recognition, but from revelation. She knows life multiplies what you give, not what you keep. So she gives hope where there's despair, light where there's darkness, and grace where there's pain. She's a reflection of a divine abundance, not because she has everything, but because she trusts the one who does. There are moments when she must stand alone. People misunderstand her face, question her peace, and mock her silence. But she stands firm, unmoved by opinions, because she knows people's approval is temporary, but God's approval is eternal. She doesn't crave applause because her heart already carries divine validation. Even when unseen, she whispers to herself, God sees me. That assurance fuels her when the path gets lonely. She carries a rare mix of gentleness and strength. She can heal and correct, nurture and lead, love and let go, all with grace. She doesn't fight with noise. She wins through presence. Her calm speaks louder than arguments. Her kindness stronger than revenge. She embodies strength wrapped in softness, a walking reminder that power and humility can coexist. What makes her unstoppable isn't the absence of pain, but her ability to rise again and again after it. She doesn't deny her wounds, she transforms them into wisdom. Her story is a collection of divine comebacks. Every time she thought it was over, God whispered, I'm not done yet. And because she listens, she keeps growing, glowing, and going. Her strength is not human, it's divine. When her appointed season arrives, her glow changes. Not because she becomes someone else, but because she finally steps into who she was always meant to be. Every trial, every tear, every waiting night, all of it was building her. Now she walks with quiet confidence, knowing that what she lost was part of what she needed to gain. When God marks a woman as chosen, something inside her shifts forever. She stops living for the eyes of people and starts living for the gaze of God. There comes a moment when she realizes her worth isn't tied to beauty, position, or possessions, but to purpose. Her heart becomes sacred ground, a space where faith breathes and destiny unfolds. She no longer needs to announce her calling because her life itself becomes the proof. She moves in quiet confidence, understanding that divine power never seeks attention, it simply exists. She doesn't chase what's temporary, she waits for what's eternal. Every relationship, every opportunity, every closed door, all of it follows divine precision. So when something leaves her life, she doesn't break, she bows. She knows that if God removes it, it was never meant to stay. She releases with grace, surrenders without fear, and trusts that every ending is only a setup for divine redirection. The chosen woman doesn't panic when life shifts. She's learned that when she walks with God, even loss carries a purpose and every delay hides protection. She carries an atmosphere wherever she goes. When she enters a place, peace follows. When she speaks, wisdom flows. When she prays, heaven listens. Her presence changes environments not because of who she is, but because of who she walks with. Her life radiates divine influence. People can sense there's something sacred about her, even if they can't name it. That's what it means to be chosen, to be so full of divine presence that your silence preaches louder than your words. Your actions speak more powerfully than your voice, and your faith conquers what fear never could. She doesn't compete, she completes. She doesn't envy, she evolves. She doesn't chase recognition, she seeks revelation. Her heart is anchored too deeply in divine purpose to be swayed by worldly opinions. She knows comparison is the enemy of calling, so she stays focused on her lane, her mission, her timing. While others rush, she rests. While others chase, she prays. While others panic, she praises, because she knows everything meant for her will arrive exactly when God sends it. A chosen woman is not afraid of solitude, for she knows that silence births strength. The world may call it loneliness, but she calls it intimacy. Those chosen by God must often walk alone, not as punishment, but as preparation. In solitude, God molds her character, sharpens her discernment, and strengthens her faith. It's in stillness that she learns to recognize His voice, to hear the quiet whispers of divine direction. She discovers that not every voice deserves her attention, and not every door is meant to open. God isolates her, not to harm her, but to elevate her. In that isolation, her identity is rebuilt, her priorities purified, and her spirit renewed. There's a purity in her heart that draws divine favor. She forgives even when it hurts. She blesses those who betray her. She prays for those who misunderstand her, not because she's naive, but because she knows bitterness blocks blessings. Her love isn't conditional, it's spiritual. She's learned that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's wisdom by forgiving. She keeps her spirit light, her past clear, and her connection with God unbroken. The chosen woman is too focused on her divine future to stay chained to past pain. When God chooses the woman, He gives her vision eyes that see beyond appearances, beyond words, beyond charm. Her discernment becomes her armor. She can feel when something is from God and when it's just a distraction disguised as destiny. This discernment becomes her safeguard, protecting her from wrong people, wrong paths, and wrong opportunities. She moves with clarity while others move with confusion. She doesn't react, she responds. She doesn't rush, she waits for divine confirmation. Her endurance, too, is unmatched. No matter how many times life tests her, she doesn't collapse. She recalibrates. When others give up, she grows. Every trial becomes testimony. Every wound becomes wisdom. She doesn't resent her pain because she knows it's the furnace that forges her faith. God allows her to be tested, not to destroy her, but to reveal her strength. Every tear she's cried is a seed that will one day bloom into joy. Her scars aren't reminders of defeat, they're proof of divine survival. The chosen woman carries a stillness in her spirit that keeps her unshaken when everything around her falls apart. She isn't afraid of the unknown because she has surrendered the future to the one who holds it. No storm can cancel what God has written, and no delay can erase what God has destined. Her peace is her evidence of trust. Even when she can't see the way forward, her heart remains anchored in faith. She's learned that faith isn't the absence of fear, it's a walking forward even while afraid. Humility is her crown. Though she's chosen, she never boasts. Though she's favored, she never forgets who sustains her. Every victory she credits to God, knowing she's nothing without His grace. Her humility attracts blessings because God always lifts those who bow before Him. She doesn't need to proclaim her greatness, her life proclaims it for her. Her humility keeps her favor flowing, her wisdom deepening, and her influence expanding. Yet, beneath that quiet grace lies boldness. Her faith isn't timid, it's fierce. She speaks truth without fear, stands strong without apology, and believes without doubt. When life challenges her, she doesn't retreat, she declares. When the enemy tries to silence her, she prays louder. Her courage is not arrogance, it's conviction. She knows that if God is with her, no opposition can stand against her. Her confidence doesn't come from herself. It comes from the one who guides her steps. There's a light around her, not a physical glow, but a spiritual radiance that can't be hidden. It's the reflection of a peace, purity, and divine presence. Wherever she goes, she becomes a carrier of hope, a vessel of healing, a messenger of love. People may not understand what makes her different, but they can feel it. She walks in grace, speaks with purpose, and moves with intention. She's not here to impress the world, she's here to impact it. The chosen woman understands that the world may misjudge her. Some envy her peace, others question her silence, but she never lets their noise distract her from divine purpose. She knows that what's meant for her doesn't need defending. Her patience becomes her armor, and her consistency becomes her proof. She doesn't waste the time trying to be understood. She lets time reveal what words never could. Her journey hasn't been without pain, but even her suffering has a purpose. God wastes nothing. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every disappointment has been the soil from which her strength grew. What others meant for harm, God turned into healing. What was taken from her, He replaced with something far greater. She knows that divine favor doesn't mean a life without hardship. It means a heart that stays faithful through it. That is the true mark of a woman chosen by God. She endures without losing her essence, believes without seeing, and loves without limits. She carries destiny in her eyes and eternity in her heart. She doesn't live for applause, she lives for purpose. Her every breath is a prayer. Her every step a declaration that God's will is enough. She is a living proof that no one can destroy what heaven has designed, and no circumstance can rewrite what God has decreed. When God chooses a woman, He doesn't look for perfection. He looks for willingness. He doesn't call the flawless. He calls the faithful. If you're hearing these words and something deep in your heart stirs, maybe it's because you are one of those chosen women. You felt unseen, overlooked, even forgotten, but you weren't being rejected, you were being refined, hidden, not dismissed. God was shaping your character, stretching your patience, deepening your faith for something greater than you can yet imagine. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by your purpose. What others called rejection, God called redirection. What they called a failure, God was using as a foundation. You are not behind, you are right on time. Every silent season, every tear, every moment of pain has meaning. God doesn't waste a single detail. He's using it all to form the woman He designed you to become. You are divine craftsmanship, sculpted in stillness, refined in storms, and now rising into your appointed season. So stop doubting your calling. Stop apologizing for your strength. Stop questioning why you feel different. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to stand out for the glory of God. Chosen women carry a holy responsibility to walk with grace, to speak with wisdom, to live with unshakable faith. The world needs your light. It needs your strength. It needs the example of a woman whose confidence comes not from herself, but from the power of God working through her. If you feel weary, rise again. If you've fallen, get back up. If you've lost your way, turn your heart back toward God. He hasn't forgotten you. Every delay has been divine strategy. Every closed door has been divine mercy. Every waiting season has been divine protection. The chosen woman doesn't live in fear of what she's lost. She lives in expectation of what God will restore. Walk with your head high, not in pride, but in purpose. Speak with assurance, not arrogance. Carry yourself like a woman who knows she belongs to God. whose value is eternal, and whose destiny is sealed in heaven. Let your presence be proof that faith is stronger than fear, purity more powerful than popularity, and obedience the true key to doors that talent could never open. You weren't chosen to impress the world, you were chosen to impact it. You weren't chosen to chase validation, you were chosen to reveal divine truth. The mark of a chosen woman isn't seen in what she wears or owns, but in the light she carries when she walks through darkness. The world will know who she is, not by her words, but by the peace that follows her. So rise, chosen woman. Let your face ignite and your spirit shine. Become a vessel of purpose, a reflection of heaven's grace wherever you go. Carry the mark of one sent by God, not to boast, but to bless, not to be seen, but to serve, not to shine for yourself, but to reflect His glory. Because when a chosen woman finally understands who she is, nothing can stop her. Her steps are ordered, her words carry power, and her life becomes living proof that no force on earth can stand against the will of God. When she walks, the ground beneath her feels it, because the presence of God walks with her. So walk boldly, chosen woman, live fearlessly, pray faithfully, and never forget, your calling was written long before the world knew your name. What God has marked, no one can erase. What He has planned, no one can block. And what He has started in you, He will finish it in perfection. You are chosen. Now live like it.